Greetings everyone, this is Aaron18 and welcome to another video. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. I'm having a fine day myself. So, you guys might be wondering, where's the Minecraft videos? I'm working on them, okay? Lots of setup involved. I've got some plans for that. So, still working on that. But today I'm going to do something a little bit different. In case you guys don't know, I have a relatively new pair of headphones. These are my Logitech G635s. It's a relatively new pair of headphones for me because, in case you guys didn't know, I actually didn't start out with these. If you guys have been watching my videos, ever since the beginning, basically, I had a different pair of headphones, cheap Amazon headphones, 20 bucks at best. But that suited me, but there were problems with it. I don't know if I mentioned this in previous videos, but that it was time for me to upgrade it. So first of all, I got this mainly because it fits with all my other peripherals, which is Logitech G. But apart from that, there are other reasons. One of the reasons is that my Amazon headphones, they were not comfortable. Past 2 hours, they weren't suitable. And when I'm making content that's like an hour or so long, and then I have to edit it and so forth, yeah, it's not fun. They were getting uncomfortable. They were okay. It was just the comfort part. And I was like, I need to get something that matches with my peripherals, because otherwise it doesn't work properly. Because otherwise it doesn't seem right. So then I got this as a gift. So let's actually talk about Logitech G. I mentioned before I use Logitech G peripherals. I have a Logitech G502 Hero mouse. You can't actually see it because I can't bring it up. I have a Logitech keyboard. And I use them primarily for a couple of reasons. One, they're good quality. They're not the highest end keyboards and stuff you could get, but they do make some good stuff. And this is also my first mechanical keyboard of usage. And the 502 Hero has been personally my favorite mouse ever since I got it at the beginning of 2020. I wonder how that suited me. But anyways, so then these were given to me as a gift, and yeah, these are now my default headphones of choice. So there's a couple of things. I will get to the specifications later on, but as you can see, they've got RGB, the usual Logitech stuff. It's compatible with Logitech's Light Sync software, which basically means you can get all this synced up with all of your other Logitech peripherals. They do swivel, and that's cool. I never noticed that. So you actually see inside of these, there's actually like these little triangle decals, which I suppose is like kind of their like special gamer decal thing. Metal, so it's got like this metal like adjustment. It feels fine. I wouldn't call it bad. Got a Logitech G logo at the top. And then you've got a different kind of ear cup. So most headphones, like gaming headphones, they use faux leather because it makes it seem more premium. These don't use that. These things use some sort of like breathable fabric. They're not super breathable, okay? I have to bring that up because they're still super thick. And yeah, these things are actually quite comfortable. The only downside is that these things clamp really hard. These are on backwards, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there we go. So they clamp actually pretty hard. Some of the tightest headphones, and they do have a good seal, which means yes, they do block out the background noise. But the problem is that if you're someone who has a big head, I have a little bit of a bigger head, but if you have a big head, these are going to squeeze a little bit too much. These things do have a microphone. You might not be able to tell. It's right there. Tell because of that little slit right at the top. It's actually pretty. I have never used the mic. I have no reason to because I have this mic. Actually, before then I had my old one. But yeah, and on the back it's got your adjustable controls, kind of typical Logitech affair. So you got a volume control, G keys. You have this little toggle here, which switches between PC and 3.5mm. Because yes, this thing uses a USB cable for PC audio, and then it uses 3.5mm for basically everything else. So I find that quite nice. I personally would just prefer to use this, and this is actually a nice braided cable. Logitech knows how to make a good cable. Logitech G, specifically. So yeah, and then for my headphones, I just set them up here, and then it's like if I need to get them again, I just pull them off, and I chuck them on my head. I'm ready to do some gaming and stuff. But and I know about half of you are going to be leaving in a minute because I'm going to be talking about the specifications. I know it's not the most exciting thing on the planet, but some people want to know the nitty-gritty of this kind of thing because some people want to make like the ultimate choice, like the perfect headphones. Spoiler alert, these are not the perfect headphones, but these are my best headphones right now. So let me get up some specs and let's start. Okay, so as you can see, the table's a little small, but I do have some specifications for these headphones. I documented these after doing a little bit of research. So these headphones are quite interesting. Are kind of what you would expect for gaming headphones. So get my cursor on here. So as you can see, these things are over-ear headphones, which basically means they go around your ears. You're probably aware of that. These are closed-back headphones, which means that these things, basically they don't let noise out, and they kind of create, like, they help keep the noise in. So there's two different kinds of enclosures. There's open, and then there's closed. Closed is like most gaming headphones. Open, it's where it's, like, vented or is, like, grated, has mesh on the back. And I say back as, like, the sides of the headphones. And it's useful for a couple of reasons. Open back headphones, as they're called, they bleed noise and they let noise in because you can basically go right through them. But the thing with them is that you have a better something called soundstage. It's effectively the 3D wide effect of headphones. So some headphones they do a great job at that, and it's better for things like music and movies and stuff because it makes it seem more like surround sound. You can think of it as sort of like that, where if you were like listening to like a live album or something, you could point to where like the instruments are playing, that kind of thing, almost like you're there, sort of. It's not perfect, but it's almost like you're there. These are wired headphones. Logitech also makes G635s, which are basically the same headphones but wireless. These things do not have noise canceling, although their seal is good enough that you probably won't have to worry about it, that much noise getting in. These things do have a microphone. One microphone, as I mentioned previously, and here are some specs for that. So this is a unidirectional mic, which means you have one side that's able to pick up your voice, and the other side it doesn't work. It is a 6mm mic, nothing special about that. And then the frequency response, if you're someone who cares, 100 hertz to 10 kilohertz. And what this basically means is that the hertz, the lower the number, the deeper the lower your frequency can go. And we'll get to that in a little bit when we get to frequency response for the actual headphones. So 100 hertz to 10 kilohertz, kind of standard again. So the transducer, or like their driver is their drivers effectively. It's a 50mm dynamic, and that's nothing special. They're their Pro G drivers, which they supposedly lower distortion, but I don't know because I haven't tested like any pair of headphones that use like Logitech headphones that don't use Pro G drivers. So I don't know if that's different because I don't have another pair of Logitech headphones that actually uses non-Pro G drivers. So, can't confirm if it's actually much better, but I can tell you that the distortion there's not a lot of distortion at all. Okay, so then we have impedance. And if you probably know about this because you've watched YouTubers that talk about like audio YouTubers, they talk about this. And impedance basically measures the resistance of the headphones, which basically means how much limiting is put onto the current going into the headphones. And this is measured in ohms. If you probably seen this almost like a Greek letter omega, almost. And super basic terms, the higher the number, the harder it is to drive. So these are 39 ohms. most devices can run 39 ohms. In fact, basically any device can run 39 ohms. So you can have so you can plug them into your phone, your laptop, your console, whatever, and you'll be able to run these. The upper limit for most those devices is about 80. In terms of impedance, 80 higher, you want to get an amp. Okay, so it's not the most important factor because there's more to it than just ohms. There are some headphones that are less than 80 ohms, but then they're incredibly hard to drive. So there's that. So that's 39 ohms passive. That it says 5K ohms active. I don't know exactly what that means, because the site was not very clear about it. So, 5K ohms. I'm assuming this means 5,000 ohms, but I don't know what the active part is. So let me know in the comments if you have any idea of what this active and passive is. All right, frequency response. Basically, this measures the entire the spectrum of sound, basically, that is being output. So from the headphones. So 20 hertz, 20 kilohertz. That's a very standard. It's kind of like the golden number. So 20 hertz, the lower the hertz, specifically, the lower the frequency. And this is good for bass, and the higher the kilohertz, the higher the treble. And we'll get to that a little bit later, because I do have a graph for these. And its sensitivity is about 93, which this means these are not super sensitive. You want to be as close to 100 as possible, and hard to run headphones you typically use, they're like 94 or so. So yeah, these are a little bit harder to run, but the impedance is low enough that you probably won't need an amp. Okay, so let me get the graph for the frequency response, because this is where things get interesting. Alright, so here's the frequency response graph of the Logitech G635s. Now this graph is courtesy of RTings, which is a review site. They do things such as review headphones and other audio products, and this is their graph that they have for my headphones. So there's a couple of things that I need to explain, I think. So down here is the frequency. So it's not linear, so it goes 20, then 100, then 1, 2, 10, and 20. And for those who don't know, 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz is the human hearing range. If you have this entire range, you actually have really, really good hearing. Some people don't get up to 20 kilohertz. Some go lower, like 18, maybe 16. And some can't hear things super low, so maybe it's like 30 or 40. It depends on who you are. Everyone's got different ears. But this is the general range of humans, from the lowest to the highest. Alright? So as you can see, this line is, so you might be thinking, okay, how the heck does this work? We've got this amplitude, which basically means the volume, how loud it is. And basically speaking, the higher this line is, the louder that part of the music is. And as you can see on this, a perfect reference point is 90. That seems to be kind of a trend for most graphs, at least in this case. So then you have these three segments, which is bass, mid, and treble. So let me kind of explain. So bass is, so to the right, or actually to the left, rather, is bass. And that's the things such as kick drum, bass guitar, things like that. The stuff that you will most likely feel. So that's how games are punchy, because of things like gunshots, explosions, so forth, because of the extra bass. As you can see, these things do have a little bit of extra bass, and it's high bass. And that's where the gunshots and explosions and so forth are in games. And that's how it makes it seem more exciting. Then up here is mids, or mid-range. And this is basically where 3/4 or most of the bands live. So things like guitar, piano, trumpets, things like that, they all live here. So as you can see, these things do have a little bit less bass, but these are gaming headphones, and gaming headphones tend to have extra bass. And yeah, it might seem all wild right here. Don't worry about that. I'll get to that in a minute. But basically, as you can see, these things are kind of close to that 90 line. And up here is treble. So cymbals, percussion, hi-hats, high-pitched sounds, reverb and ambience, things like that. And yeah, so as you can see, these things kind of spike up a little bit here, then they go back down, then they go back up, and then they just trail all the way down. And that's kind of standard for a lot of headphones because this is way up top in the range of human hearing. So, you might be thinking, okay, well, so you want it to be, flat line. This does not look very flat. It doesn't need to be a flat line. Flat line is a reference point, so reference headphones want to be here. This is basically perfect sound, where everything is the same volume as the original. So sometimes headphones emphasize bass, for instance. Then for this line, it will be the same volume as if it was directly from the author. So for example, if you have music that's like guitar, like heavy metal and so forth, and there's an emphasis on bass on these reference headphones, it would sound exactly perfect, or close to perfect. But this is more of a, again, gaming headphones, it's better to have the bass because it makes it sound more exciting. Also, yeah, I know it's not a flat line. Don't judge this as it will turn your music inside out. That's not the way it works. This basically just gives you an idea of what kind of sound profile you can expect from these headphones. So as it stands, these things are not balanced, or basically having equal bass and treble, and the bass, mids, and treble, and being sort of flat sounding. These things are a little bit more flavored, but that's important because, again, gaming headphones. I can't emphasize that enough. Gaming headphones. It got a little bit of extra bass, but that's because gunshots and stuff like that. It makes it sound more exciting. All this squiggly stuff, it's only in specific parts. Like for example, right here, this dip in the high mids, that's only in a specific part. Right here, it's a similar thing. Up here, it's a similar thing. So it's just a general idea of how the headphones sound, but that doesn't give you an idea of a lot of other things, such as actually how they sound. You have to actually put them on your head, and you actually have to take a listen, as it were. So what is my conclusion on these? Well, as you can see, from the specifications, as you guys saw, these things are nice headphones. I forgot to mention, these things also have another feature that's kind of amazing. Hold on, I keep doing the volume now. This thing has 7.1 simulated surround, and that's kind of interesting because a lot of gaming headphones do that nowadays. And you might be thinking, well, what does 7.1 mean? Basically, you've got a decimal point, and it kind of divides from the speakers and the subwoofers. So to the left of that point is the number of speakers. To the right is the number of subwoofers. 7.1 is pretty standard for gaming headphones. That basically is just to help make it seem more surround-ish. And it's actually quite fun. If you play a game that actually can support 7.1, because not all games can do that, but if you do have one, you can tell. So it's like enemies over here, I could hear it as if he's over there. If he's over here, I could hear him almost like he's over here. It's simulated, which means it's not perfect, but it is pretty darn cool. So yeah, these are not. So again, if you're someone who does audio, and you want a pair of headphones to act as a reference point, these are not a good reference point, as you saw from that graph. But for gamers, I would have to say this is a pretty good bet. 7.1 surround sound is really fun. If you play games that actually support it. The sound quality is actually pretty good. I wouldn't call it exceptional, but realistically, I don't have an exceptional pair of headphones because I don't have that kind of budget. But in general, not bad. For some of you guys, you might be thinking, okay, how much are these headphones? If you want to buy them directly from Logitech site, these things are around $100 right now, because of a sale. But it's more likely going to be more expensive. MSRP for these things are somewhere around $140. So you are going to spend extra on headphones, on these headphones. So these things are a little bit expensive, but if you're someone who wants to get a good, a fun pair of headphones, these things are pretty fun. If you have a bigger head, they may not be as comfortable, but if you have a smaller head, these things should do perfectly, or perfectly fine, that is. All right, so just a little bit of a different thing. I'm still working on Minecraft stuff. Give me time. Setup and so forth is not easy, especially when you're trying to get everything all straightened out and so forth. I'm trying to get all the calculations made and so forth because, yeah, I'm going to be doing a video, and it's going to be quite interesting, I hope. Alright, so anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you want to, like this video and subscribe if you want to. I'm not going to push it. I didn't even put that as an incentive for the past previous episodes, I don't think. But if you guys do want to, do so. And I hope this was helpful. So again, if you want to, again, courtesy to RTings for that graph. They also have a lot of other graphs for headphones and so forth. So pretty good place. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.